Hello YouTube and hello Ninth Age community. This is Charles with Evershit Gaming and I'm bringing you another Ninth Age battle report. This is game 4 of Buckeye Battles 2018. This game is a couple weeks old, I guess, at this point. We're moving past Buckeye. It's like one of my favorite events of the year, but it's happened. It was amazing, and we're moving on and moving on to new territory. Here is my list. I just put it up there for a little bit. I talked about it in my previous report. I'll also have it in the comments. Same list, obviously. And then I played Dwarven holds. So I played a King on a War Throne. He's got the Rune of Destruction and 2 Runes of Might and Runes of Shielding. So he's got like a 1-up armor save, and he's got like a 4-up Aegis, maybe just a 5-up Aegis. And then he does D3 wounds, and he's like Strength 6. So this guy's just nasty. Then he's got a Thane with the Holdstone, which is also great, with the Rune of Fury, so 2 more attacks. Rune of Smashing, so Strength 10 against Resilience 5 or higher, and then 1 Rune of Iron, so he only has a 2-up armor save. And then an Engineer, and then 19 Clan Marksman with Handguns and Musician. 24 Greybeards, full command, Banner Relentless Company. 6 Hold Guardians, 2 Things of Fitting Kingsguard, 2 Copters, and 2 Organ Guns, 1 Rune Crafted. So the deployment style was counter thrust, and the objective was spoils of war. That's why we have the 3 markers on the board. And I think he used his Veil Token markers, which worked out because I ended up using my Buckeye markers to say which units he had hatred against. Yeah, so starting Empire deployment. So I've got 1 unit of heavy infantry looking at the marker on the left there. A Griffon kind of pushed up, then my flags are pushed back. Everything's basically pushed back. My generals pushed back. Handgunners are back. Cannons just barely peeking out of the hill. The militia are forward just for counter thrust purposes. And then behind them, next to the steam tank, are my Imperial Guard. And then to the right of the Imperial Guard are the light infantry with crossbows. Another unit of heavy infantry kind of pushed up looking at a marker. And this was before he deployed everything. And then 1 more Griffon finishing on my right flank. And I believe at this point the only thing he had deployed were his copters and his handgunners. Yeah, I think we traded, I think we got to 3 and then I plopped. And you'll see how he deploys, but I believe I deployed awfully in this game. So this is how he finishes his deployment. He basically just corner hammers me, places everything to one side, which I think was just an excellent idea. He's zoning me with his 2 organ guns on the hill. They're both barely on the back of that hill, which gives them all sorts of... I mean, they're so hard to shoot with normal shooting. The only thing I can pick them off with is cannonballs. I actually took a fireball this game with my magical heirloom instead of altered sight, just so I could try and put some wounds on those bad boys, because it's got 36 inches. Yeah, so he put his 2 units in King Guard on the hill in front of his organ guns, and then his unit of Hold Guardians, and his unit of Greybeards on the right, and he has his BSB and his King on Throne and the Greybeards. That's a better picture of showing. Yeah, he's got awesome Hold Guardian miniatures too. I loved his Hold Guardians. They looked really cool. Hold Guardians are dope too. I think those are such a cool unit. And then this is where his engineer is, and then the shield bearer dude in the Kingsguard, that's just a unit filler. It's not. I thought that was a character for the first 2 turns, and then I realized, oh, it's just a unit filler. So Empire Sonnstahl got to go first, obviously because I plopped everything basically. So important things that happened turn 1 basically. Didn't really have much shooting. I moved my handgunners up just a little bit. I moved my militia back so that they could throw fireballs but not get hit by... I think 1 organ gun could shoot them. But it's going to be a lot of minuses. Then on the right there, you can see, or on the left, you can see I put one in my unit of heavy infantry on the marker, which is great. And then I thought I had my Griffon out of range of both organ guns. I was like just barely in on the second one. I was going to be okay with 1, I thought, but the Rune Crafted one was the farther one away, and a core, it was like just barely in. So that will come back to haunt me. Turn 1, I think I got a fireball on one of the organ guns, and then I think both my cannons miss. And then, yeah, don't really do any other damage. So Dwarven holds turn 1. He just kind of pivots with everything. Moves his Kingsguard off the hill. They're going to obviously be claiming objectives. And then in the shooting phase, he has no magic phase. He's no Runesmith. I can't make a single Aegis save with this guy over here. And he does exactly 4 wounds between his Organ Guns, his Handgunners, and oh man, I felt like I was already about to lose this game at this point. I didn't make any Aegis saves. I literally made 0 Aegis saves out of 4 wounds, which is like statistically really, really awful. But I also felt like I failed a lot of armor saves too. I mean, his Handgunners I think did like a wound or 2. They might have done 2 wounds actually. It was crazy. Like, and they're hitting on 6s or 7s, so they're shooting through a forest. It was so bad because that is a little forest right there. So I don't know. I thought I had a lot of cover, but apparently not. So I lose my my Griffon Lord with the Winter Cloak turn 1. So my turn 2. Start moving my flags up. I need to contest that middle objective, or make it hard for him to get it at least. My Griffon, my general's up a little bit. I think he's out of range of 1 Organ Gun. It's just so frustrating playing against Organ Guns. You can see I'm moving my heavy infantry across my battle line, the one that was on the far right. You know, there's no way they were going to be able to get that objective, and I didn't think they would really be a good speed blocker, so I just decided to move them across. And I actually thought that worked out well. Yeah, and then my shooting is just maybe picking off a guy or 2, but I really don't have that much shooting most of the time. I think the handgunners are out of range for most games, and I had to realign the crossbows. So yeah, this is his turn 2. He moves up a little bit. I think he puts his Hold Guardians on one of the markers, and then this is just showing his shooting on my Flaggellants. He plucks like 8 off, I think, between the handgunners and one of the Organ Guns. And then he lays into the one that had the infantry with the Organ Guns. The heavy infantry passed their panic test. I got my BSB, my general right there. So the first turns I felt like went really fast. So as you can see, I mean, we're already on Empire Sonnstahl turn 3. So I'm able to use, I believe, my order from my BSB and his unit to give the heavy infantry on the double. So I put him right on the marker so that he can't march up and get on it this turn with one of his Kingsguard units. And then I've got my flags parked behind them and my Griffon parked behind that. And then my handgunners, I think, can start shooting the Kingsguard. Obviously, my wizard's still in range to kind of pick on the Organ Guns with a fireball or buff my shooting. And then I'm just trying to zone on the right there a little bit with my Griffons to keep maybe his Kingsguard back, or his Greybeards back, and his Hold Guardians. Hold Guardians are on objective, so they're not really going to do too much more. I feel like magic was really ineffectual this game. And I'll talk about my magic in my next battle report, how it did over the whole tournament, but I don't know. A single wizard adept was really, really low impact in terms of output, even if you had the right spells and games. I get the stars align off this magic phase, though. Again, I think I'm trying like the fireball. I'm trying Fate's Judgment and different things, because I even have 21 inches with Fate's Judgment, but it's either like I'm getting them off and just not doing anything, or I'm not getting them off, or he's dispelling them. I do like, what, 6-7 wounds to this Kingsguard unit, which is pretty awesome. And then I think I do 5 wounds over here with my crossbows, so that's also pretty good. Or I mean, 5 turns, maybe the last couple turns of shooting or something like that. So killing some dwarves, and then the steam tank double 1, so its cannons out of the game, which is just fantastic. And then yeah, this seemed to happen a lot for me too. And then yeah, and then a 1 and a 4 on this cannon too. So it's like this. I feel like this picture is the story of my cannon and my steam tank's cannon of the tournament. It's like, how many turns can we either just roll 1s and misfire and like either knock ourselves out? And I think my cannon knocked itself out of the game in like 3 games. I want to say it was my first, this one, and I don't want to spoil it, but I think in my last game, my cannon knocked itself out of the game. Or maybe it might have just been 2, but even like 2 is really bad. And just even the number of misfires was so disappointing. So Dwarven holds turn 3. he charges the heavy infantry with his Kingsguard, and I thought about holding, but then I realized that it would just kind of be like a really easy unit to chop through, and then he could possibly just reform on the marker, so I decided I'll just flee. And then he tried to make in the flags, and it's a little bit far for dwarves, and they fail that charge. And then this is how the rest of his units... So he activates the Banner Relentless Company, and he flies forward with his Greybeards, which now puts a lot of pressure on that side. And then his Hold Guardians are just chilling in the forest. And then, yeah. He's got his Kingsguard kind of poised to move up, but they're not moving up anywhere too fast. Because that one failed to charge. I don't know why he didn't march that other one up. Maybe I think he might have been worried about getting charged by the Griffon and maybe the steam tank, which rightfully so. I think the steam tank zoning that one unit a little bit. And then this is my general taking, I think, some damage. I can't remember if he's... It's so hard to remember. I tried being out of range of the organ guns, but sometimes it's so finicky, like moving sometimes. And again, I hate to say this again, but I hate playing against organ guns. I played against double organ guns. Oh, double organ guns is really where it kills me. One organ gun, alright, I can play that in a game. But two I've played against two organ guns in so many games, and I've won against them, and I've lost against them, and they're just really annoying to play against, because it's always seeing if, like, you can stay out. And in this case, I actually lost my general that turn. He just got punked again. And again, I didn't make any Aegis saves with him. It was all just failing armor saves, and then failing all my Aegis saves. So, I lost my general on Dornhold's turn 3, which was really sad. Then Emperor Sonnstahl, turn 4. Charge my Flaggellants at one of the smaller unit of Kingsguard. I think there's only like 8 dudes left. He does have hatred against my flag, so there's a token on them if you can see it. And then I put Brace for Impact on my Imperial Guard to charge the Hold Guardians, but I failed that charge. And then I put my last remaining Griffon into the flank of the Hold Guardians too. That you can see me fail. I think I moved only 1 inch, so now I'm like perfectly positioned for him to flank me. But there's nothing I could really do. So I'll have to deal with that. The only good thing is I'll be able to get a turn of shooting at them, and then I'll be able to get another round of shooting at them when he charges me. Unless he charges the crossbows, which would be fine. And then I move my steam tank up pretty far, do 5d3, because obviously can't shoot his cannon anymore. And then I use the breath weapon, and I think I just kill a couple dwarves, but that's okay. And then I think I'd do something here, either Fate's Judgment or probably not a fireball, and put a wound on a copter. And then combat happens. So my Griffon only really kills one Hold Guardian, but it was just enough to beat them. But they run like 9 or something like that, and I think I only go 4. So my Griffon's just in the forest, and his Hold Guardians basically run through his whole line. Nothing panics except one of the copters, which we don't move it quite yet, or you'll see it in the back of a picture. But one of the copter I think with like 1 wound on it, flees, and the other one's fine. So I guess it was nice to cause 1 panic test. It would have been nice, really, just to catch that unit. That unit's a lot of points. The good thing is they dropped their Spoils of War marker that they picked up. That's the Copter Flame. Yeah. So, yeah, I only think I did 4 wounds, but just enough with a flank and everything, and he was in a forest, so. And then, oh man, the Kingsguard just obliterate the flags with all that hatred. I don't know if I forgot to have 2 attacks, or I don't know, maybe I was just being optimistic at this point. Probably a bad move. Probably should have just marched up past the marker, made him charge me, but now he can move on at next turn. So Dornhold's turn 4, he charges in. As you can see, I did a little bit of damage the last couple turns, but not nearly enough with my crossbows to really make a real meaningful impact. I think it only looks like there's like a few gone. And then he rallies with his Hold Guardians, which is great for him, and then his copter flees off, so I wish that was reversed. But, you know, you can't have everything, even when you're losing a game. And then you can see he marches up his Kingsguard to get on the marker, and the other Kingsguard is also kind of moved out. So this was like the final straw for me. in this game, with like my Griffins just not being able to make saves and just getting punked by shooting. This copter, these copters have the little gun that's got like 4 strength 5 shots, and they're flaming. This is my only Griffin with a fortitude save. So he shoots at this guy in a forest. He gets 2 hits, 2 wounds, and I fail 2 4 armor saves, and he dies. And that's it. And then he shoots his organs at my steam tank, but thankfully he just doesn't roll very well. But it was like, it was just so, it was so frustrating, because it was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, oh man, oh, it was so sad. Sorry, this game really like was straining my my sportsmanship. I was losing my mind, just not being able to make any armor or Aegis saves all over the place. Combat goes here as expected. A bunch of Imperial Guard get killed, but I passed my test, so I think I made a challenge against his champion with my champion, and I think my champion died too. I think I couldn't make an armor save. He has hatred against Imperial Guard too, so he obviously he rolled like okay too. He didn't roll like crazy. Throw a Fate's Judgment here. It started my turn 5, and it kills this copter. So a little turn there, and then another bad turn. Again, my cannon misfires and rolls a 3, and now it's not going to shoot turn 5 or turn 6. So yeah, go cannons! They're so powerful. This was a huge turn though. Finally, like a really big swing of good luck for me. But I don't even think it's that crazy. I just shot my 20 handguns at 4 Kingsguard, and I killed all the Kingsguard, so he couldn't pick up the marker. Yeah, I mean, I could have... I think I only did 4 wounds, so I got lucky that he didn't make any armor saves, because he had a 5 up against it, because they got shields and, you know, plate armor. So I got really lucky that he failed all his saves there. And then, this is probably Emperor Sonnstahl turn 6. Kind of, like, just sped things up. Things really, like... At this point, actually, what really happened once I killed those Kingsguard is he was unable to get any markers. Because he didn't have enough movement to get to any markers on his turn 5 to pick them up on turn 6. So what I ended up doing is just, I basically just moved things away so that I can't really take any damage. So the, you know, all the heavy infantry on the left there has the only marker that's been picked up. It picked it up my turn 2, and it just sat in the corner all game, hoarding its booty. And then, so the heavy infantry back up, I back up my handgunners. This point, I'm not going to really do any damage. I'm not going to cause a panic check. I mean, like, it's so unlikely, and it's so more likely that I could take a few wounds from those handgunners and just die. Everything just backs up. I lost my Imperial Guard unit, and my BSB fled, but he got away. So in my Emperor Sonnstahl turn 6, I finish off this one unit of Kingsguard, which is great with my steam tank. And then, I'm just, you know, I'm just sitting there. He can't really charge me with his hold. He could maybe make a long charge with hold guardians, but I don't even think they're going to kill the steam tank. I think they're just strength. I think he took the strength 6 actually, so they could do some damage, but I don't think they would kill the steam tank without multiple wounds. But the big thing is, this was his only remaining close scoring unit, and he didn't even have enough to really like maneuver or do anything to get on that marker. So on his last turn, like I said, I lost my Imperial Guard, but my BSB was alive. He got away. He rallied on my turn 6. And then on Dwarven Hold's turn 6, he charges in again. And we end up just getting in a challenge. And I just finally learned how to make an armor save. This king challenges me too. And I finally learned how to make an armor save, and my BSB takes no damage. The king takes no damage. So he's just got like a couple ranks and a banner, but I got a banner. I think I'm down by like 3, and I end up just sticking it. So good on the BSB for just holding out and holding on to. I mean, he's only like 260 points, I think, so it's not like it's the hugest swing ever, but it felt sort of good to have one small victory at the end of a very sad and long game with dwarves. So yeah, BSB holds out. What a boss. What a champ. Love this guy. And this is how the game looks at the end. I don't have my crossbows in the end at the picture. They're still alive on the right there. They were just kind of sitting there. And yeah, so he's got his organ guns are live. I think I did 3 wounds to one organ gun over the whole course of the game, over like so many fireballs. I think at one point I did 6 wounds of the fireball, and he made all his armor saves. It was, I think, all but 1 or something like that. It was so stupid. I thought, like, yeah, maybe I'm gonna get 1 organ gun now. Nope. What are you thinking, Charles? You can't get a single organ gun. They're impossible to kill. Don't even try next time. No, they're not impossible to kill. I just rolled awfully. He's got his Hold Guardians alive. They're kind of in that forest, wishing they could get on that marker. And then he's got his Handgunners alive. So this game ends up being a 9-11 loss for the Empire. Sonnstahl. Originally, it was a... Gosh, what a 6-14 loss, but I actually swung it up by winning the objective. Because that 1 unit of heavy infantry turned 2, picked up that marker, and held on to it, because honestly nothing was going to threaten that unit. It was all the way on the other side. I mean, he had nothing. I mean, the only thing possible would he could have maybe got some copters over there and started shooting at them, but they were shooting at Griffins, they were shooting at they were doing a lot of shooting at the middle of my board. And yeah, so those guys held on the booty. I prevented the Doranholds from getting on their booty, which was great, and just was able to win that objective. So not the worst loss at Buckeye battles, for sure, but a small loss. But I felt better that, you know, game 4 and I got a 9-11 instead of just getting like 3 or 4 points. That would have been really really frustrating. This was at least like, all right, I got a 9-11. I could work with this. You know, I can see where I can bounce up from here possibly. But yeah, double organ gun list. They're just not, I'm sorry to say it, they're just not fun to play against. I hate railing against them, but they're just like, I love playing against any other dwarf list. Like I love playing against like Vanguarding dwarves, where they're like really combat-y and they're up in your face turn 1. Like that's like really fun and still really challenging, I find. Like I've lost those kind of lists, but the double organ guns is, I just find it's a shooting match. Whoever shooting rolls better ends up winning. You know, plain simple. If my cannons were hitting and wounding and killing organ guns, like it would have been a way different game, but fortunately couldn't roll it. So I lost the game. Thanks for watching. This is Charles with Evershade Gaming, and it's been an excellent battle report, and I'll have another one out pretty soon. Thanks for watching.